What up, YouTube? It's Robert Marshall coming back at you again from New Concord, Ohio. And I just did another review a little bit ago, but I'm trying to catch up reviews, so I'm sorry if I'm talking fast and ranty today. Let's have a chuff. Sorry about that, vapers. Try that again. Okay, so what I'm throwing at you today is another hardware review, which I've been doing a lot of juice reviews, and I just did one a few minutes ago, I'm throwing out another, this is a hardware review, and what I'm going to throw at you today, if you haven't played with one, and if you haven't got to touch one, this is one of those deals where I'm going to tell you in the front run of the video, this is something I'm serious about, and I love this thing, so if you get a chance to go out and get you one, they're not super uber duper pricey, but, and we'll get to the pros and cons, and some of the stuff that goes on with it, and I'm sure you might have seen other reviews, but this is my straight up review, as it always is. So what I'm coming at you today to check out is this. It's the PHARAOH RDA, okay? And anybody who hasn't checked out this PHARAOH RDA, this thing is a monster, okay? I absolutely love it. The flavor's stellar. Now, let's get to, beforehand, all the shenanigans, all that, okay? I'm going to be straight up with you. This is a single coil RDA. I don't think that you can run it dual coil. You have to build like one leg this way and one leg this. You know what? I'm not even going to piss around with it. Show you some of the benefits to it. First of all, this screws off. It comes with two drip tips. One is an open style drip tip and one has a spit back protection. I don't like the spit back protection ones. They drive me crazy. But you really don't have any reason to have to drip directly into this, and we'll get to that in a minute. Okay, well actually we'll get to it now. This cap screws on instead of popping on and off. It doesn't leak. I love this thing. Okay. Second thing is, as you can see, I have a Monster Clapton in here. This is actually an 8-wrap, 22 gauge fuse Clapton wrapped in 40 gauge. So it's pretty small. I'll try to get it to focus for you for a second. I'm trying not to jump juice everywhere. Yeah, I'm going to jump juice everywhere. Okay, so one of the reasons why I'm dumping juice everywhere, if I tilt it for you, I'm trying here. Anyway, one of the reasons why I'm dumping juice everywhere, if I tilt it for you, is because of the benefit of why this thing screws on and doesn't leak. There's a well underneath your wicks. It goes down in here that lays all the way down to the bottom of this metal. I think it's about a 2 milliliter juice well. If you build big coils like this, it does whatever, but it's kind of like an RDTA with a small milliliter tank. I love it. I'm down with it. Like you can see, the deck is very interesting. These side posts actually have springs inside of them that pop up. You can see from the way my coil build is in there. But this is a single coil. I think you can build dual coils, but I've never seen anyone do it. So I'm sticking to big single coils, big Claptons and stuff. So it has this like 2 milliliter well on both sides of it. It chucks and chucks and chucks, and the flavor is flavor. So that's really my big thing. I'm going to have me a little chuff right now. Vape production off a big coil like this, this coil is reading 0.27 for a single coil, which for me is pretty high. I build a lot of low grade or low coils. Usually I stay around 0.1. I'm regulated, and I usually build down into the 0.09 to 0.1 range on my mechs. I like big wires. So this 22 gauge fuse Clapton's on my standard. This held it perfectly. I love the way this thing works. I like the way the clamps are. I like the fact it's closed up and I don't have any leakage. So I think that this bottom airflow is almost, because the coil sits on top and the well is kind of underneath, it's closed off from the airflow holes. The airflow holes, it never leaks down through. And I think a lot of that is because there's no side airflow or anything. But the airflow holes are underneath my coil. I wish I could tilt it, but with the well the way it is, I'm sorry guys. Anyway, it comes with 2 drip tips. This does screw on. The clamp system's amazing. It has a well in it. So you don't have to, you got to take the cap off and drip into it. But it doesn't leak. And it's basically kind of this perfected mixture between an RDA and has the flavor of an RDA. It's an RDTA without all the RDTA stuff, in my opinion. So someone, DigiFlavor, made this, and I love this thing, and they had a brilliant idea. And so I'm not going to get into the super nitty gritty and tell you how deep the well is, and I'm not going to get into all the specifications. It is a big tank. I think it's 25 millimeter. It's a big monster. And it's pretty basic. I think they make it stainless steel and black. I preferred the black, because the fingerprints and the whatnot. You may have a chuff. And as you can see, the airflow is only on one side because each one of these has a huge square airflow hole that goes up right underneath your coil that feeds this, but it doesn't, whatever it is, the big thing about this is where you put the juice into this well is separate from the airflow holes in the coil. It's underneath that and it's sealed off from it. So you don't get like leakage. You don't get, it doesn't run down in because it's a separated section. It's not like the RDTA where if you tilt it over, it drains out. Now that well does sit, and if you tilt it on its side, it will leak up into here, but it'll come out the drip tip before it goes anywhere else. It's completely separated from the bottom airflow, except that the airflow goes up underneath the coil. So as long as you wick this across and put the ends down in like an RDTA, you put the well, put the juice in the well, you're all gravy. So anyway, I don't want to rant too damn long, but I just wanted to throw this thing out there. I received this yesterday. I've been vaping on it nonstop, and I really love this thing. And if you guys want to watch someone else's video, because mine's not super informative on your own idea, but it's an amazing tank. It's big, like I said, it's chunky. It's not too super tall, in my opinion. I've had bigger tanks. But these big airflow holes, there's 3 of them, and they're lined up to these bottom 3 holes. And it is a single coil thing, but it's made for big single coils. So those of us who are big time dual coil type guys, this provides the same kind of vapor production and the flavors over the top that I'm used to from dual coils. And I've always been like, I don't really like single coil stuff. I'm not a single coil guy. This PHARAOH's kind of sold me on being able to use big single coils. So I feel like I'm vaping dual coil vape at a higher ohms, and I get a stellar flavor. And it was something like the fused Claptons in it, a large like 8 wrap dual 24 22 gauge wrapped in 36 or whatever. Any kind of staggered fused Claptons, stapled Claptons would work really good on this. If you get ones that are high enough and wrapped enough times to be, to fit into it. It does require a larger single coil, which some people don't like, but the flavor comes out stellar. And I'm only running this, it's an 8 wrap, I'm only running at 50.5 watts and it chucks. And the flavor's just banging. It's still warm. It's still a hot vape. But it's not like, hot like I'm used to with dual coil. So I'm really enjoying it. Anyway, I'm at 7 minutes, so I'm gonna have a chuff. And I'm gonna tell you what I always tell you. Also, make sure you look into advocacy, not only here in the United States, but look out for the guys in Australia and anywhere in the world that you can get a place to get a link to be able to help those people save their right to vape. You should do that. So, as I always say, vape happy, vape safe, and peace out, YouTube.